On This Week in Campbell football, we discuss National Signing Day, less than 1 month before Mike Minter brings in a brand new recruiting class. We also bring up the plans for 2022, how a new offensive mindset will change for this program, and Brevin Allen, the defensive player in the Big South. How is he so dominant on the defensive line? We break that all down on This Week in Campbell football. Welcome back to This Week in Campbell football with the head coach Mike Minter. We are inside of 1 month from National Signing Day, and your team's making waves with verbal commits early in this process, ranked as high as #1 in FCS football and recruiting leading up to December 15th. What is the philosophy you're preaching to these recruits to bring them into Buick's Creek?
Well, I think the first thing is that we preach family, faith, football, and about their future. That's what we preach. And the #1 thing that we do around that is we want to unlock your greatness. And so in order to come to our program, you got to believe and know you have greatness. And it's our job to unlock that. And so this is what we preach to the parents. I think they feel the energy. They feel the love when they come in with the staff and the other football players that's there, and the culture that we've built. And parents trust that. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about accountability and trust, and that's what we preaching. That's what we selling, and #1 in the whole country in recruiting in FCS football. It's pretty good.
The best part is you have 1 more month to sign even more players come December 15th. A key addition we hadn't talked about yet is your new recruiting coordinator, Braxton Harris, who heads this recruiting effort and helps bring in these players. What's been the biggest buy-in from him and your staff of going out and finding these talented recruits?
Well, Braxton, you got to think about it. He's coming from the head coaching position already. So he understands what it takes and how to put people together and how to work together. And so the staff has just done a great job. We've always done a great job in recruiting, and I think his leadership have helped us elevate to a whole nother level. And for us to be #1 in all FCS football, that's a big thing. And I can't wait to get these guys in the fold. And Braxton, again, he's done a great job of organizing and then elevating us to where we should be. And so great job by him.
Sounds like Christmas might be coming early for this program with December 15th, the start of National Signing Day. So this is year 5 of scholarship football, bringing in scholarship recruits, building up the depth of your roster. We mentioned last week the intangibles that you want from your players. What's the biggest attribute you want to see from these recruits that are coming to Buick's Creek?
Well, we talk about being somebody who have that mental toughness, that discipline, love to be a student athlete. You got to love this stuff, and because if you don't, it's going to be real difficult for you, and you're going to give up, and you're not going to continue to grow in the process. And that's what you want from your recruits. And so they got to have the ability to come in with that industriousness, right? The ability to work hard with a purpose and a plan. And the other thing, you got to have that enthusiasm. You got to have that enthusiasm about the game of football, that enthusiasm about the classroom, that enthusiasm about the process of working out and training and conditioning and all those things, taking care of your body and eating right, and that's a long process for 11 games. And kids got to come in with that mindset, is that it's going to be a process. I'm willing to put in the work in that process, and that's what we're looking for with our recruits.
You mentioned industriousness and enthusiasm. Those are part of John Wooden's pyramid of success. And Mike Minter loves this so much. It's painted in the walls of his locker room. His facility has the pyramid on the wall. Clearly, you're trying to change the culture of this program, bring a level of success that just didn't happen this year. What are the biggest goals this offseason to build that success?
Well, it's about sense of urgency. I really believe when I saw JMU and we played them guys, I saw a program with a sense of urgency everywhere. And not necessarily just in, the game, but also in the warm-ups, how they came out. As I was talking to the assistant coaches on their side, all those things, I felt a sense of urgency of being excellent everywhere you at, because you're the same everywhere you are. And I think to get the buy-in to that and to get people to understand really what that looks like, we got to create that here. And so I'm going to create from the time a student athlete get up to the time that that person go to bed, he will have a sense of urgency type of schedule that nowhere during that day you're going to feel like you can relax. That's what we got to create, and that's what we're going to create. And everybody on my staff will be involved in creating that energy of that sense of urgency.
Speaking of urgency, speaking of excellence, Brevin Allen has been named the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big South.
Yeah.
He led the league with 17 and a half tackles for loss in 11 games. Some crazy numbers from your senior defensive lineman. What allowed Brevin to be such a force in the backfield?
I mean, he's a great athlete. First of all, he's a junior, so he's coming back. So I don't want nobody to think, oh, he's a senior, he's leaving. No, he's coming back. And but you got a guy that loves the process. You have to love the process of practice and lifting weights and all those things that I just talked about that my recruits need to have. Is you got to love that and you got to embrace that, and that's what he's done. And so when you add that to athletic ability, you get a Defensive Player of the Year. That's what happens. And so, he's a quiet guy. Don't say much. He just come to work every single day. And I thought his practice habits became championship level practice habits. And that's what I talked to him about before the season. I said, you have to condition yourself to be able to dominate for 60 minutes. And that's what he did, and the results are there.
He's one of 4 players named to the first team All-Big South Conference. One of the players who did not get those votes but was very impressive, C.J. Tillman, a national finalist for the Jerry Rice Award. That's the best freshman in the country. He goes down as one of the top 5 freshman linebackers in all of college football. This is a player you brought in week 2, week 3 into the lineup. Not a huge name in the offseason. What impressed you most about C.J. Tillman's development?
Again, he was a FBS guy who got dropped with Liberty real late in the process. Well, we jumped on it, and we recruited him real hard, and we got him to come here because he's an FBS talent. So when a freshman comes in on this level, that's an FBS talent, you're going to see him flash, and you're going to see him do things that other people can't do. And that's what you saw in C.J. Tillman. So great year by him, and he's just going to continue to get better. He's going to be one of those names, I promise you, you're going to know by the time he's done here at Campbell.
I realize there's an offensive side too, but I want to touch on defense. One more question. This defense forced 23 turnovers. In the NFL, you made a living as a safety, interceptions, turnovers, being physical. What does it say about this year's defense to rank 4th in the country in forced turnovers?
Coach Glosser and the defensive staff all year long talked about it. We got to be a turnover machine. We got to get the ball. We got to get the ball. So to me, what you do is you train and you program players to do what you want them to do. And so that's what we did. Every day we talked about that. Every day that's what we were going to be. And then they became that. And when you become that, like that's a lifestyle, then it's going to always happen. And that's what that again, that's the results. You train something, you get something. Even if you're training something bad, you're going to get that, and that's going to be something you see week in and week out. And so you got to give kudos to the defensive staff of sticking with that message, and then the defensive players buying into that message, so then they can become that, and you're 4th in the country with turnovers. So great job by the defense of creating that, and we just got to continue to build on that. Because again, it wasn't good enough for us to get to where we wanted to get. 3-8 is not it.
You mentioned that 3-8 record. This week, multiple changes on the offensive staff, including letting go offensive coordinator Nick Rimes, looking to shuffle up the offense. What is the philosophy you are searching for offensively with the next hire you bring in to run this offense?
Well, I mean, it's a deal where I feel like an offense with these rules should score 14 points a quarter. That's what I want. How you do that, I don't care, right? Let's be aggressive. Let's be, keep the defense on their heels, and let's keep the pressure on these guys. If we're going to go recruit like that, then we got to use it to put pressure on the defense. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an offensive coordinator that can put pressure on the defense, and they cannot relax. From the time that we kick the ball off to the time that the final whistle blows, I want that defense nervous, okay? And that's what I'm looking for in my offensive coordinator. And he has to lead his group in that way from January all the way to August.
Clearly you have some work to do to hire this coordinator and multiple offensive assistants. How important will the months of January to April be implementing that system and developing what you want offensively?
Well, it's going to be very important because it's new. And then, you're going to have new voices, you're going to have new faces, and those guys got to get acclimated to me as a head coach and then our culture and how we do things, and at the same time get acclimated to different players. And how do you do that? So it's going to be a fast forward type thing, and we're going to hit the ground running. And so, that's the great thing about something new. It's going to create a new energy. And really, when you go 3-8, it's about the energy. I mean, I don't care how you look at it. Energy is not right. And so then what you do, you got to insert different energy to hopefully put the magic formula together that creates that energy of your guys now playing off of and feeding off of for 11 weeks.
That's a hungry, motivated coach right here, folks. Mike Minter is ready to make some changes and build this program back up. That's it for this season. Thanks for welcoming me to this booth, by the way, Coach. I always appreciate it. With the head coach, Mike Minter, I'm Evan Budrovich. We'll talk next year about spring football, the new recruiting, and, of course, the new offense that comes to town. But for this season, we sign off on This Week in Campbell Football.
Hi, I'm Coach Mike Minter, head football coach at Campbell University. If you're looking for a new car, go check out my friends at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, and GMC in Sanford. Go where I go, Wilkinson in Sanford, proud supporters of Campbell Athletics.